I am off on another mission, but this isn't just any Bond location. It's from one of my favourite Bond films, on Her Majesty's Secret Service. And here's a sneak peek of what's to come. But today's mission is to hunt down the beach from the iconic opening of the film. After Dr. No, I think this film has one of the best intros to a Bond ever. So I think it was important to find where they shot this scene. However, we had a problem. I'm staying in Estoril, and well, taking a cab all the way to this beach is cheating. So time for an adventure. We hopped on a train to Cascais, and from there, well, how do we get to Bond's Beach? But firstly, have to visit here. A quick glimpse is all we get in the film, but it's when we see Bond's Aston Martin for the first time. And unfortunately, there was construction, but it still looks the part. Right, time to find this beach. I suppose the most un-Bondy mode of transport ever will do. A scooter. An electric one at that. But let's hit the road. Cascais, I believe it's pronounced, is a really interesting place. And here are some examples of the architecture. Although I have said I'm not an architect. You might see the eclectic style, which is commonly referred to as summer architecture. These were built by noble families during the 1800s. And the style has no distinct features, but more is for leisure and aesthetic. Due to Portugal's neutrality in the Second World War, the town's elegance, royal past, Cascais became the home to many of the exiled royal families of Europe, including Spain, Italy, Hungary, Bulgaria. It also led to our man Fleming visiting here as well. During the Second World War, it was a place of royals, spies, Nazis. Maybe in a later video I'll explore that. So after a long scoot, worrying about the battery, we got to the beach. I really love this scene in the film, and it's special to come here and see it.
This never happened to the other fella.
Although time has changed the place, the dunes have moved. You can see where Lazenbys' Aston Martin drove down, where he rescued Tracey. And God, look how choppy it is there. I would have loved to have gone for a swim, but I wasn't that brave. I won't lie, this was out of the way. It took time to get here. I really am grateful that I pushed to try and get out here, but not in a cab, going on an adventure. So when I was on this beach, I sat down and thought about the film. Took it all in. One thing I observed while sitting, contemplating on this beach, was how the Bond series leaves its mark on locations, especially the quiet, out-of-the-way places like this. I've seen pictures of George and Diana everywhere. Bond, the cast and crew, worked here over 50 years ago, and they're still remembered. People still have their stories about James Bond's time here. We're still on this Her Majesty's secret mission. Let's see all the beauties Lisbon has to offer. Well, all the beauties through the prism by which I view this world. Bond. Staying in Estoril, we had to shoot into Lisbon for the day. Pastel de nades, my weakness. And God, I love these things. When I'm here, I could easily consume a dozen. No joke, I think I have eaten a dozen in a single day. And here is one of my favourite places to get them. Outside, when you look down the street, you can see the bridge, which Lazenby was kidnapped and taken over by Draco's henchmen. Officially known as the 25th of April Bridge, it was initially named Salazar Bridge. After the overthrow of the Salazar regime, it became known as Tagus River Bridge. As you can see, it's based on the Golden Gate Bridge, with the same colour, but also the suspension style of the Oakland Bay Bridge. California viewers probably know exactly what I'm talking about. But enough talk about bridges. We need to find a wrought iron structure, which this channel really loves. More into the centre of Lisbon, you can see the trams help you negotiate the hilly terrain. Now that's more like it, the Santa Justa lift. All this iron may remind you of my Eiffel Tower video. As I relearned today, Lisbon is on a hill, and that's putting it mildly. The reason for all these lifts is to connect the main lower areas of the city with the higher areas. Obviously the aim was to create less friction in the movement of people up and down the city, help commerce, social. In Ireland, they'd probably just make you walk uphill. And that's what I did. This place here is very important to us Bond fans. Excuse my butchering of the pronunciation. Joalheria Fiera Marques. Here is where Bond purchases the wedding ring for Tracey. This old jeweller's really has a lovely aesthetic that you don't get in the modern places. And guess what? It's wrought iron. The jeweller's was founded in 1926 and is still owned by the same family. As always, it's great to see Bond locations. They seem so natural and part of the city, but also just have a special quality to them as well. God, the beauty of Lisbon is just something else. But now what? Similar to getting to the beach, I have a far away location to get to. And with a bit of effort, it's time to try and get there. Just north of the city is a special place, Palacio Fronteira. Just like getting to the beach, I'm so happy I got to visit here. It was a real close call, and I nearly didn't get in. We showed up late, but the really nice girl working here let us in and didn't mind us taking our time. The Palace of Marquesas of Fronteira was built in 1671 as a hunting pavilion to Dom João de Mascarenhas. Dom João de Mascarenhas was the first Marquess of Fronteira. He received his title from King Alfonso VI of Portugal for his loyalty to the House of Bragança in the Portuguese Restoration War. God, there's a lot of pronunciation in that. And this is still a residence today, although some areas are open to the public. With the Monsanto forest just beside here, there is a quiet ambience. The 1700 style garden transports you into a special and quiet, peaceful place. There's quite a meditation vibe to it all. This is not one of the obvious Bond locations, but it feels like an important one to me. There is such a feeling of peace here. A real contrast to the city just beyond these walls. After taking it all in, it was time to go. With all this moving around, it was hungry work, and we finished the day in timeout. I like it here. It's simple and easy with lots of options. My colleague Barry recommended I try this local drink, ginger. If you're watching this, thanks for the recommendation. However, it was time to quickly move on to the old fashions. And after a few too many, head home. For more adventures back in Estoril. A lot more. In doing this series of locations, I tried to push the emotion of the channel's format. I wanted to capture and reflect the qualities of this James Bond film that I really enjoy. As Christopher Nolan would concisely put it, a wonderful balance of action and romanticism. Speaking of which, time for my version of action. I first set foot in this hotel back in February 2020. Yep, that's right. Just before the world went a bit weird. I was in Lisbon at the time and wanted to come out here to see it. After only a couple hours, I promised myself I would return. The Palacio Estoril Hotel is just outside of Lisbon. If you're coming from there, it's easy to hop on a train and you'll be there in no time. The hotel was built in 1930 and since then it's had some history. The place is very old-fashioned, from the decor to the service. The staff take great care of you. I felt every need of mine was met. Brings me to this guy, Jose. Jose is the biggest boss going. He was in his teens when he worked here in 1969, and this right here is him handing the keys to the manager.
Everything seems up to the Palacio's usual high standards.
Yes, it's a good seat.
By the way, that red coupe...
If you're ever in this hotel, stop and talk to him. He loves talking about Her Majesty's Secret Service. He's a bit of a celebrity in the hotel. He'll keep telling you all the details about when they shot here. He really loves entertaining us Bond fans, giving little snippets of details you might not know. Things like the producers and the cast stayed here, including telesavales, which I didn't know. Jose is just full of these little stories and information about the film while shooting here. Although it's different from when they shot the film here, the hotel does feel like a time capsule from that era. I always say it's so special to explore a classic Bond location. The hotel is part of Bond history. Not only did they shoot the opening of the film here, they also did some of the shots from the wedding here too. Although I do wonder, was it just a press event? Our pal Jose seems to think they were shooting that day too. As you can see, I took some inspiration from George and wore a pink shirt for some of this. It seemed like the right thing to do. This Bond hotel doesn't hide away from its history with the character. It seems like here in Cascais are very proud of that relationship with Bond. On the wall, there's pictures of the film. They even have Bond themed parties here every year. A little cabinet with Bond memorabilia in it too. The hotel just gives this sexy espionage feeling to it too. The room cards are stuck in little passport shaped booklets. So what brought the producers here for the 6th Bond film? Well, it's largely said that this location was an inspiration for the 1953 novel Casino Royale. As I said in my other video, Portugal's neutrality led to this area of the world being a hotbed for royalty in exile and espionage. Back during the war, Fleming stayed in the hotel for one of his operations. This here is very cool. They have a copy of his registration in the hotel. You can see the date of when he was here. So here's a look at the casino across the way and what it looked like. The story goes,
we talked to some of our Secret Service chaps, and they said, well, if you want to see these agents, you'll find most of them gambling in the casino at Estoril. So I sat down at the table and bonkoed one of the Germans once. Lost. I bonkoed him again. Lost again. Bonkered him for the 3rd time, and I was cleaned out. It was on the basis of this real-life episode that I based the big gambling scene in Casino Royale.
They went into the Casino Estoril thinking they'd bankrupt the Nazis. Turns out they were the only ones to go broke, but Fleming thought it would make a great story. As you can see, the casino was right here, only a short walk from the hotel through the park. Once you put it together, it's a very clean way in which you see the inspiration. You can't unsee Fleming's experiences and inspiration that led him to that first novel. So I had to go into the casino for a little bit too. Exploring was very fun. As I said, they indulge us Bond fans. Here is called the Spy Bar. You can guess why. I got my favourite, an old fashioned, and one of these bad boys. Although they really want you to have a Bond martini. The long hallways to the spa and dining areas are filled with photos of royalty and heads of state that have stayed here. There's a lovely restaurant with a set menu called Casino Royale. Obviously, I went for it. The view from the rooms are fantastic. The staff just really make you feel welcome. And they do these little details that are very nice. Going back to how old-fashioned and charming this place is, they leave this on your bed with a little weather forecast for the next day. It's a really nice detail. In a time where you have phones to give you this information, it just feels more personal. Too bad about the forecasted weather. They've designed the hotel and the different dining areas to look out in the garden. And look at the pool in the garden. It's just very nice. You can see why they did some of the insert shots from the wedding. Or even the rooms. The rooms just have this great, either enjoy the garden view or so high up that you can see out over Estoril and Cascais. Their motto, the Palacio Estoril, is grand and cozy. It's luxurious but really comfortable. The staff here make you feel at ease. And after days of exploring here and the surrounding areas, it came to an end. And yeah, it was hard to leave. You get settled here at the Palacio. It's really a place where they embrace Bond fans, make you feel special. I have a feeling someday I might return, maybe say to Jose or the manager, everything seems up to the Palacio's usual high standards. Thanks for watching. If you like the music, check out the description. I used Enzo and a lot more. Shoot that like button. Alan Carroll will return.